Today's story comes from the relationship advice subreddit and was posted by Throratar Silver and was titled, "My 30 male girlfriend, 30 female, has shown some odd behaviors with recent work travel. Am I reading too much into things?" So as the title says, my girlfriend has had a decent amount of work travel over the last 2 months or so. Some trips have been overnights, some have been 2 days, and some have been 4 to 5 days even. We've been together for 4 years and lived together for 2 years. She has had work travel before, but this has been a more active stretch than usual, totally fine. I've been glad she's thriving in her role and getting to network more. The first thing that caught my attention was when she was packing for an earlier trip in the stretch, and she was trying on different outfits while packing, and she was naked. I saw that she had shaved her pubic hair completely. She usually has a trimmed look, always well-groomed, but almost never shaved bare. I didn't want to be accusatory or anything, so I didn't say anything. It's not like she was hiding it from me since she was naked. The next thing that caught my attention was she would change her travel plans pretty last minute to go earlier than originally planned. So for example, she was scheduled to fly out Sunday night for meetings that start early Monday a.m., but then said she decided she was going to fly out Saturday afternoon instead, just so I'm there and not dealing with travel issues or delays. Again, I was kind of like, really? You want to be stuck in a random city, in a random hotel longer than you need to be? But okay, it makes sense to not risk anything with travel. So again, I largely left it alone. She just left for another trip and will be gone all week. She was originally scheduled to leave Monday morning, but decided to fly out Saturday morning instead, because she said she's never been there before and I want some time to explore the city. I don't want to divulge locations, but it is not that great of a city to want to fly in early and explore for 1.5 to 2 days before work starts. And again, I noticed she had fully shaved her pubic hair down to bare again. This time I asked, "Hey, I've noticed on some of your trips you've been shaving your pubes beforehand. I don't mean to sound accusatory, but any specific reason why?" And she didn't get overly defensive, but told me, "It makes me feel more confident in myself heading into meetings, and it's just easier with travel." I get that thinking, but why would she not do that more regularly, then, if that's the type of impact it has on her? The final item is last night, she texted me some nude pictures from the hotel bathroom after her shower. Sweet. I saved the photos down to enjoy later and put them in my hidden folder. I went to look at them later and saw the timestamp on them was from almost 2 months ago, meaning she took these photos at a different hotel and never shared them with me until now. I get that people will take nude photos at different times when they think they look best and feel good, but if she felt good enough to take them at that time, then why am I not seeing them until now? I know that's a lot, and it's entirely possible I'm being paranoid and overanalyzing things. If you think that's the case, then tell me. If not, then tell me too. What do you all think? Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "Trust your gut. Best advice you'll ever get, brother." Opie replied, "My gut can see both sides of this, hence the post here, as I truly don't have a fully confident read either way." Commenter 2 says, "To be true, all what you've pinpointed are red flags. Even more altogether, the outdated photos, the new behavior of wanting to go several days in advance, the shaving every time. You shouldn't have asked her why. Did you notice other new things? Like she call/message you less than before when traveling? Did she talk about new coworker? How is your sex life since the 2 months?" Opie replied, "Nothing overly new to be honest. She's not protective of her phone, still would call me every night and usually FaceTime, hasn't mentioned anyone. Sex life has been normal, about 2 to 4 times/week, depending on the week." Commenter 3 says, "A shaved hoo-ha makes her feel more confident. In business meetings?" As a woman, I ask, what business is she in? I find that response ridiculous. Maybe that's just me. I think your suspicions are certainly valid. Maybe you might want to get tested as well. Opie replied, "Well, I appreciate that input from a female perspective because I obviously can't relate to what that does or doesn't do for a woman from a confidence perspective. Has the girlfriend gone full bare before? And the occasions for this reason?" Opie says, "Early days in the relationship, it was more common, so likely a case of trying to impress me. She shaved before vacations before, but sometimes it's also been tied into wearing a bikini and doing her bikini line. So she just does it all. Point being, as I wrote that out, it hasn't been randomly done." Commenter 4 says, As a woman, I'd say she's cheating with a work colleague. Opie replied, appreciate your perspective as a woman. Has the girlfriend mentioned anyone at her job that she has a close bonding with? Opie says, hasn't mentioned any specific coworkers really. There's one coworker that the woman that she talks about a lot, but it is genuine hatred, and I believe that so don't think it's a case of switching teams here. Has not been cities where she has friends already. Commenter 5 says, do you know where these trips are? Maybe surprise her on a trip and tell her you want to explore a city together since you haven't been able to spend much time together lately. Opie replied, yeah, I'm aware of where she goes, and we share locations with each other, so I can see where she is. She has gone to sightseeing places, but no way of knowing whether she's doing that alone or not. Beyond that, her location is at clients' offices, dinner spots for work dinners, and then the hotel, so nothing unusual there. Commenter 6 says, do you know anything about her boss or people she might be traveling with on work trips? Or does she say she is solo? Opie replied, typically told it is solo, but she'll be on site with clients. Commenter 7 says, the biggest red flag you should be raising is she's choosing to leave 2-3 days early for these trips. Whether there's a guy fucking her or not, she's choosing to spend more time than she needs away from you and your home together. Just FYI, but someone is funding those 2 additional nights in hotels every time she travels. As someone who travels a lot for work, that would be getting flagged by finance if it was happening as regularly as you described. 2 possible options. Firstly, wait till the next break and book a flight just after hers leaves on the Saturday. Surprise her at the hotel. Secondly, if it's a colleague she's having an affair with, she may be using work chat apps, Teams, Outlook, Slack, to plan the trips, hence why her phone isn't showing anything too triggering, so you might need to look at the laptop and her photos. Opie replied, yeah, agreed, and I suppose the justification in my mind has been she is a traveler and was before we met too, all over the world. Her phone is also her work phone and has those apps on there. I haven't fully inspected those, but she's not hiding them either necessarily. Commenter 8 says, the travel early to the destination is the biggest red flag. Likely it is someone she works with. If you today for sure that she was cheating, what would you do? You're going to need more evidence. Do you have an open phone policy? Has she been more careful with her phone? Opie replied, we're both fairly open with our phones. There's a mutual respect that our phones are our phones, but she wouldn't and hasn't thought twice about telling me to use her phone to look something up or to text someone back for her while she's driving, etc. She definitely is not protecting her phone. Update 1. Based on all of the comments, I had decided I was going to be pretty blunt with her when she returned and demand some answers. She returned from her trip on Friday morning. We were supposed to go to a friend vacation home for the holiday weekend, so I wanted answers before doing that or it was just going to eat at me all weekend. When she got home after about 10 minutes, I said we needed to sit down and have an honest and real conversation, and I expressed all of my doubts and concerns and the red flags in her actions of late and basically said that I deserve the truth and honesty. She pretty much caved immediately. She started crying and finally gathered herself enough to admit she has been sleeping with her manager on trips. Obviously, I am extremely gutted, a mess, confused, lost, etc., and all the other adjectives and words you can think of. I ended things immediately. She tried to change my mind with any and every tactic, not go to work. I blocked her number and on social media. Her friends and sister have tried reaching out to me. I told them the true situation. Her 3 friends backed off pretty quickly, and her sister basically tried to gaslight me somehow, which was pretty infuriating, but I admit I've been able to laugh about that part now. I packed stuff to go and stay at my friend's place, and have plans to move my stuff out of our apartment on Tuesday of this upcoming week. Appreciate everyone's blunt assessment and comments. It wasn't what I wanted to hear, but obviously needed to hear. Time to try and move on. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, make sure you take someone with you when you move your stuff out. Opie replied, I have 2 friends coming with me, thanks. Commenter 2 says, in your original post you said you lived with her. How is blocking her going to help? Why did she confess immediately to sleeping with her manager, but still try to get you back? What was her reasoning? Opie replied, well, I left that day to stay at a friend's place, so she was blowing up my phone and my socials trying to talk to me and find me. I can't speak to why people who cheat think they can reason their actions by saying but it didn't mean anything, but that was part of her reasoning. I think it is human behavior to try to rationalize your actions and change someone's mind when you get caught doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. I don't think anything she said or did is out of the ordinary for someone who gets caught. Commenter 3 says, if she's getting her flying monkeys to beg you back, it tells me he's unavailable and is married. I'd find that wife and tell her because he shouldn't get away scot-free and she deserves to know. Opie replied, I didn't want to get too much into that with this post, but yes, it could become a messy situation. Commenter 4 says, if you're feeling vindictive, a tip-off to the company might start an investigation into the manager's expenses. Opie replied, like most people would, I basically flip-flopped every hour on going scorched earth in every possible way, or just walking away and letting it all sort itself out and not wasting my time or energy on it. Commenter 5 says, I would tell company HR and leave it at that. The rest will sort itself out. But if the manager has a wife, she deserves to know. Plus, they deserve the consequences of their actions. Otherwise, they're just going to continue as is without you in the picture. Opie replied, I plan on telling his significant other/wife for sure. Commenter 6 says, of the manager? That's all kind of messy. He could easily be fired depending on the industry. Opie replied, yeah, I wouldn't think the company they work for is the type of company to turn a blind eye to this stuff for a lot of different reasons. That is on the table as an option for me once I get my stuff sorted. Opie on the manager that the ex was involved with. Is the higher-up? Is the ex trying to get Opie to stay? Opie says he certainly is responsible for approving those items, but I'm not sure where that falls in the overall hierarchy of things. He's not an executive, but he isn't mid-level either. My understanding is the company was paying or he was paying. I don't think she was paying for it herself. I have met him twice before. To be honest, I wasn't up for hearing any reasons or excuses and reacted pretty abruptly and didn't want to hear anything from her. I suppose having more facts would be helpful in a way, but at the same time, I can't stomach to hear it all. He has a wife. I don't believe they have kids, but not certain. Unsure of her motives for trying to get me to stay. Probably a little bit of both things you mentioned. He's around 40, I'd say. And yeah, of course, after dating that long and living together, we talk about marriage and buying a home and all of those things. Opie needs to get tested for STDs. Opie says, yep, that is happening later this week. Thank you. Update 2. I'm not posting another thread on this as I believe that violates the rules of this sub. So I'm sharing my update here in the comments and whoever sees it, sees it. I am officially moved out. I moved all of my stuff out on Tuesday with the help of 2 friends. She was not there, and we worked pretty quickly to get in and out. I still have her blocked on all fronts. She reached out to one of my friends who basically confirmed 1, yes, we moved my stuff out, and 2, do not try to contact me in any way, shape, or form. I'm crashing at a friend through this weekend and into early next week, and then I have an apartment lined up. Obviously extremely grateful for my friends who have been incredible throughout this shit. I contacted the wife of the manager via social media on Thursday, yesterday. I sent a message introducing myself, another explaining why I was reaching out with all of the facts of the situation from my perspective, the early departures, the shaving, etc., and the conversation I had with my ex when she finally admitted to it, and I included the screenshots of texts before I blocked her, where she freely admits to what happened while begging me for forgiveness and a second chance. The wife read my messages and didn't reply for several hours. She then responded with thanks for sharing and sorry this happened. Pretty cold response in my opinion, but think people deal with news like this in their own ways. So I responded and said, not your fault. Let me know if you'd like to talk or need more info from me. My thought process being I can explain things in more detail verbally or see if I can gather any other details, etc. Her response was, thank you. That won't be necessary. So at that point I was, and still am pretty confused. She's either a powder keg and about to explode and doesn't want to hear more from a random guy telling her that her husband is cheating on her, or she's well aware of his actions, / not his first time / or something along those lines, and is seemingly okay with the situation. With that, as of this morning after gathering more specific details, mainly dates, I have also filed an online report through their company's ethics / compliance website and hotline. I shared details on names, titles, specifics that I'm aware of, but more so focused on the travel details with dates, so they're able to check their systems on that front. I also included commentary that my ex has fully admitted to the sexual nature of their relationship to me. I could not attach images otherwise. I'd have included the screenshots of her texts honestly. Seeing that I have just submitted this report, I don't know what will come of this. I suppose if I don't hear for a week or so, I will look on LinkedIn for a local HR manager of some sort to send a message to. I appreciate everyone's kind words and encouragement and advice. A lot of the things I've come to the conclusion of between this post and my original post are things I likely knew deep down but didn't want to fully acknowledge or admit to. The feedback has been helpful in facing the situation head-on. The second story is from Am I the A-hole subreddit. It was posted by CurveOK310 and was titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling an acquaintance that his girlfriend was cheating on him after a mutual friend told me about it? I, 20 male, was hanging out with a good friend. Let's call her Emily, 20 female. We went to our usual local burger joint just to chill and chat. Then, Emily asked if I know a dude named Bryce, 20 male. I told her, yeah, he's a friend of my homie DeMarcus, 20 male, who is more like a brother than friend, but Bryce to me is just an acquaintance. Emily then drops a massive bomb. She tells me that Bryce's girlfriend, Estelle, 20 female, has been cheating on him with this guy, Jaden, 20 male, and it's been going on for a month after they started dating. This put me in a really weird position because of how our social circles overlap. I actually know Jaden well, and I'm a closer friend with him than I am with Bryce. On top of that, I'm actually friends with Estelle, whereas Bryce and I are just casual acquaintances. To be honest, Bryce has never really liked me for some reason anyway. After hearing all this, I told Emily, yeah, I know literally everyone involved in this. Emily immediately asked me, are you going to tell him? I told her I didn't know. Emily said that was kind of fucked, but I tried to explain the nuance of the situation. I'm friends with the girlfriend, I'm friends with the guy she's cheating with, and the guy being cheated on doesn't even like me. Low-key, it just felt like a mess that wasn't my business to get dragged into. Emily said okay, but made it clear she thought I should say something. That conversation happened about 2 weeks ago, and I chose to just stay in my lane. Then, last week, DeMarcus threw a kickback at his place. Bryce was there, and Emily was there too. Emily decided to take matters into her own hands and told Bryce everything. But when she exposed the cheating, she also went out of her way to tell him that I had known about it the whole time. The next day, DeMarcus called me to ask why I didn't tell Bryce what his girl was doing. I told him straight up, it wasn't my place and I don't get involved in other people's relationship drama. DeMarcus said, I get that, but you could have at least told me so I could handle it. I told him I couldn't do that because if I told him, he obviously would have told Bryce. Then Bryce would ask where the info came from. DeMarcus would have to say me, and Bryce wouldn't even believe it because of his weird dislike for me. He'd probably just think I was starting rumors. Since I was stuck between trying to protect my friendships with Estelle and Jaden versus helping an acquaintance who doesn't like me, I figured the best solution for my own sanity was to just sit back, stay out of the blast radius, and let things play out naturally. DeMarcus listened to my side and was like, yeah, that actually makes sense. After that call, I decided to text Bryce directly just to clear the air and show some respect. I said, sorry man, it was out of my hands. Bryce completely lost it on me. He texted back, cursing me out, saying I should have told him regardless of how we felt about each other, and then promptly blocked me. On top of that, Emily has been super distant and cold toward me ever since the kickback, like she judges me for not jumping into the drama. I thought I was just avoiding a mess that wasn't mine to fix, but now I'm being painted as the bad guy. So am I the a-hole? Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, if Emily wants to say something, she should. I would keep out of it unless one of them asked. Opie replied, yeah, I mean, she didn't know Bryce until she met him at that party, but she also knew Jaden, and that's how she knew about the situation. Commenter 2 says, yeah, yes, the a-hole. Doesn't matter how you personally feel about Bryce. The fact that you sided with the cheaters, and you did, by keeping quiet and prioritizing your friendship with them. You did Bryce, and to an extent DeMarcus, a massive disservice. Opie replied, to be honest, I don't even think you would have believed me if I did. Commenter 3 says, yes, the a-hole. You are showing your morals when you support cheater. Opie replied, I don't support what they did, but they have to live with that, not me. Commenter 4 says, since I was stuck between trying to protect my friendships with Estelle and Jaden versus helping an acquaintance who doesn't like me. Yes, the a-hole. Some people in this comment section are going to try and justify why it was best for you to ride the fence, but your reasoning is explicitly stated. You stayed silent because you wanted to protect your friendship with the cheaters. The rest is all pretext. The core of your reasoning is selfishly motivated. You can't be surprised that people who value open communication are now distancing themselves from you. They don't trust you. You should go get better acquainted with Estelle and Jaden. That's going to be your main group now. OP replied, you're focusing on only part of the equation and misrepresenting it. Yes, they're my friends. However, what Emily told me was one perspective on how she thinks someone is cheating. At the end of the day, it's hearsay. Commenter 5 says, not the a-hole, and everyone saying yes, the a-hole is either crazy or 18 years old. Getting involved in the drama of someone you barely know is never the move. If I heard some random lady in my town that I barely know was cheating, I wouldn't do shit. Not my circus, not my monkeys. If it was a good friend who was being cheated on, of course I'd say something, but if it's anyone else, I don't care. Unless there is some extreme scenario where someone is in danger of dying or being assaulted, I literally won't get involved in anyone's drama unless it's a good friend. My time and energy are too precious for that. Other adults' actions are not my responsibility. I'm not a cop. Everyone can fuck off with their issues. I'm not betting an eye for an acquaintance. I only have time for my friends and my family. Opie replied, I have the same mindset, and I think what a lot of PPL are forgetting is that peace of mind is very important. Update. Hey guys, I wanted to drop an update on my last post because a lot has happened, and honestly, the trash ended up taking itself out. DeMarcus actually asked to meet up with me in person because he said he had some heavy stuff he wanted to talk about face-to-face. First off, Bryce obviously broke up with Estelle. But the wild part is that immediately after the breakup, Bryce started hanging out with Emily a ton, and now they're already officially dating. When DeMarcus told me that, I was just like, damn, that was fast. DeMarcus also told me that Bryce, Emily, and a few of their other friends actually invited him to go on a trip with them this summer. DeMarcus turned them down. He told them straight up, I don't think it's right for me to hang out with you guys, especially with how everything connects back to my brother. Apparently, when DeMarcus said that, the whole group flipped it on him. They told DeMarcus that I was holding him back from making new friends, and they said someone like me shouldn't be trusted anyway. Emily explicitly called me a coward and said I couldn't even pick a side. DeMarcus told me that hearing them say all that made him realize just how much deep resentment Emily and Bryce have been harboring toward me. It was a total litmus test, and DeMarcus stuck by me. But the craziest part of what DeMarcus told me was when he had asked Emily why she was acting like this. He asked her, you've been friends with him for a few years. Why don't you like him anymore? Emily basically went on a huge rant about me. She told DeMarcus that I was nice and cool at first, but that I just don't care about anything unless it's about myself. She brought up this one time where she tried to set me up with a girl she knew I used to like, and I told her she overstepped, said I didn't find the girl attractive anymore, and chose to go to the gym instead. She also claimed that all I do is talk about myself, saying stuff like, oh, I got a paper published, I got a high-value paid internship, and that I rarely ask questions about her or how she's doing. Then she finished it off by saying she likes Bryce. Bryce doesn't like me. And that's that. To make things even wilder, I also had a phone call with Jaden and Estelle recently, and they revealed a huge plot twist. Emily was actually the entire reason they even met in the first place. Jaden told me that he was hanging out with Emily and a few other friends a while back, and he happened to mention that he was still looking for a relationship. Emily turned to one of the other girls there and said, maybe you can set him up with one of your friends. The girl started listing off a few names, and the second she said Estelle's name, Emily immediately jumped on it and strongly suggested that he pick her. This makes no sense because I have literally talked to Emily before about all my other friends, including Estelle, so Emily knew Estelle was with Bryce. When I talked to Estelle about it, she told me she was just tired of her relationship with Bryce because it was getting really toxic. So when Jaden approached her, she thought he was cute, and they just started hanging out more. Basically, Emily literally orchestrated the introduction that led to the cheating and then turned around, acted self-righteous, and blamed me for not exposing it. Honestly, hearing all of this from DeMarcus, Jaden, and Estelle made me low-key glad. It completely opened my eyes to how snakes operate, and I'm just happy Emily and Bryce are completely out of my life now. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, I fucking knew Emily had an ulterior motive. But everyone here yesterday were all you have to tell him, without doing any sort of due diligence. Commenter 2 says, same. From the first post, I was so bothered by how insistent Emily was on dragging Opie into it. I just knew she had some kind of agenda. Seems like maybe she set Opie up with the knowledge of the affair, so she could turn around and make him the bad guy and turn the friend group against him. Such a pick-me, LMAO imagine having so much hatred for someone for no reason other than getting some guy's attention. Opie replied, truly, I feel bad for her for the most part. Commenter 3 says, sounds like Bryce and Emily deserve each other. It should be entertaining when that whole thing falls apart. Very cool on DeMarcus. And you get to know who your true friends are. Oprah replied, yup indeed.